How, my relatives? I'm Pat Spears, President of Intertribal COO, the Council on Utility Policy. These are exciting times with Native Americans on the road to renewable energy. Wind energy is a great way to heal Grandmother Earth and restore sustainable tribal homeland economies. I'd like to tell you about the first Native American-owned large utility-scale wind turbine in Indian country. This is the home of the Sichangu Oyate, the Burnt Thigh Nation on the Rosebud Sioux Reservation in South Dakota. In the summer of 2003, there was a gathering on the Rosebud Reservation. At their 4th of July powwow, the Rosebud Sioux tribe celebrated the achievement of building the first 750 kilowatt, tribally owned commercial wind turbine to be installed on Native American lands. This moment has real meaning for Native people with a great respect for our land. In the 21st century, we can lead the way in developing a sustainable way of life.
We here at Rosebud have always had a great concern and a desire to preserve our environment here, whether it be the air, land, or the water. They're probably the three most important things to us as a tribe. And we try to preserve all three of them. And that's why we've begun the program of wind development here.
Indian country is ideally suited for the generation of clean, inexhaustible wind power. The Rosebud Sioux Reservation is in South Dakota, the heart of the Great Plains. The winds that sweep across the prairie are steady and reliable. It's a resource that's been used for ages, yet never on a scale like this. A wind energy project can serve both local reservation needs and sell power to large commercial markets. Either option, large or small, needs to follow a wind development process. The process begins with site selection and wind assessment. It also includes environmental review, interconnection for power distribution, the business plan and financing, and finally construction and operation. Wind development requires specialists in each of these fields. Wind Powering America and the National Renewable Energy Laboratory can help tribes with technical advice and finding the right team. The Rosebud tribe was interested in learning how to serve both reservation power needs and export the energy to regional markets. The tribally owned Rosebud Casino, located next to a regional transmission line, became a likely site to explore both opportunities. Once the site was identified, the Tribal Utility Commission needed to prove the wind potential of the area. For initial wind prospecting and small projects, NREL has a 20-meter anemometer loan program, like the one in use on the Pine Ridge Reservation. This partnership includes Honor the Earth and COO in a plan to install a small wind turbine to power the Keeley radio station. However, if tribes are interested in a commercial wind project, a taller tower is needed, 50 meters or higher. That's the hub height of a utility-scale turbine. The tribe installed a tower instrumented with anemometers and wind vanes to measure the annual average wind speed and direction. The results of that 18-month study documented an 18 miles per hour average daily wind speed. This data, after being analyzed by a specialist, provided the basis for the business plan and revenue projections for the project. This tribal initiative and a 50% funding match qualified the project for a $500,000 grant from the Department of Energy. The tribe secured a low-interest loan from the U.S. Department of Agriculture Rural Utility Service, another first for a tribal wind project. This allowed the tribe to retain full ownership of the wind turbine project and the economic benefits it would create. After an earlier groundbreaking, construction began in January of 2003. With temperatures sometimes dropping below -20 degrees and varying wind chill, the expert crew installed the first piece of the foundation. To anchor the turbine, 144 30-foot steel rods were embedded in a massive concrete foundation. The next step was to erect the 190-foot steel tower. It was a culmination of years of planning and effort by many dedicated people, tribal leaders, consultants, private companies, and government officials, individuals who saw the potential, never gave up, and helped it become a reality. After the first section of the tower was attached to the foundation and perfectly leveled, the second section was lifted on top. Along with selling electricity, there's one more element that's part of the project's economic success: the sale of green tags. Green tags recognize the value of clean energy. These green tags represent emission offsets, including the amount of carbon dioxide that won't enter the atmosphere as a result of the wind energy generated here.
We have had the fortunate opportunity to work with the Rosebud Tribe to bring a new source of revenues to this project. That is associated with the purchase upfront of the long-term green tag rights associated with that project. This allowed us to bring a significant upfront payment to the tribe, which they can use to help cover the cost of this project and also to start the development of the expansion from this very first turbine.
Native Energy is the company set up to handle green tag transactions. It buys carbon offsets from the tribe and sells them to concerned individuals and businesses like Ben & Jerry's, Stonyfield Farm in Timberland. These businesses donate the green tags to Clean Air Cool Planet, which holds them forever so they can never again be sold. Over its 25-year lifetime, the Rosebud turbine will save 25,000 tons of coal from being burned. That's equal to a row of 10-ton coal trucks 10 miles long. After the tower was completed, the nacelle, which contains the turbine generator, was lifted and attached. The rotor with its 78-foot blades was hoisted into place. The last bolts fixed the rotor blade assembly to the nacelle in February 2003.
This is a great day for Rosebud and for the Lakota Oyate for future generations.
The giant turbine started spinning on March 4th, another day of victory for the Rosebud Sioux tribe. Electricity generated from the wind turbine is expected to bring in more than $100,000 every year. To realize these benefits, there was one more factor that had to be addressed: how to deliver the power to end users.
Well, some of the lessons one must look at first is, as I mentioned before, the wind velocity. You've got to pick a good place, but that is not the sole consideration. The other is, how do you get that power out of here? And part of what we looked at and have to continue looking at for future developments is, where are the transmission lines that we can tie to? For us here, one of them is just south of us, and that was one of the driving considerations for it being here. When we look at the wind farm development, you either have to locate where you have easy access to transmission capability that can handle the added input, or you have to put up your own transmission lines.
The Rosebud project was able to take advantage of existing infrastructure. Electricity enters the power grid through the local utility, Cherry Todd Electric, and interconnects to the Nebraska Public Power District. The energy is then delivered on the vast grid operated by the Western Area Power Administration, or WAPA. The federal government, trying to reduce U.S. carbon emissions, agreed to buy the wind power for the Ellsworth Air Force Base in Rapid City, South Dakota. It took the Rosebud Tribe and its utility commission 8 years and a host of partners, including the Rosebud Casino, the Intertribal Council on Utility Policy, DisGen, and Wind Powering America to develop the project plan. The Western Area Power Administration, Ellsworth Air Force Base, Nebraska Public Power District, Basin Electric, and Cherry Todd Electric Cooperative all cooperated in interconnection and the power purchase contracts to make this project a resounding success. Wind power, whose source is the sun itself, is in perfect harmony with tribal values and traditions. The Lakota Sioux know the wind powers as Tatea Topa, the four winds.
And then upon the earth, there were powers that were sent that are sacred beings. And out of that, one of them was the wind. So the wind had a wife named Ite, and they had 5 sons. The wind is even in our hand. In this story, this is the south wind, and he's weak and he's cannot do too many things alone. He's very gentle. And then the third finger is the east wind, and he can't stand alone. So he has to have help with the south wind. And then the center wind is very strong and aggressive. He's the north wind, the center finger. And what he's able to do is he can stand alone, and he can change the whole difference in how the world seasons change. When we see that every year in our part of the country we have winter. And this is the west wind, and this one too, he cannot act alone, but he's very powerful. These two, the north and the west wind, bring the most powerful winds, and they both bring snow and rain. And then this is the last wind, which is the whirlwind.
I acknowledge all our spirit guides and the wind from the east to come forth and to help our people with this project. And to the south, I acknowledge the wind too, and all our spirit guides.
The Rosebud Sioux are not the only tribe to start making and selling clean energy. Another project is up and running on the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara reservation in North Dakota, the 3 affiliated tribes. In the summer of 2003, tribal elder Connie Fox and Chairman Tex Hall, president of the National Congress of American Indians, dedicated the site of their wind turbine.
Good for our people. And Mother Earth.
All of the reservations in North Dakota and throughout the United States are sitting in tremendous wind potential areas. In a particular map I was looking at, of course, is North Dakota. And we have so much potential here. We have 17,000 times the amount of what we need here on our reservation. That's a tremendous asset. It's a tremendous economic potential revenue for our people. We can harness Mother Nature's spirit of the wind for us, using the wind for developing our economies and the cash potential. So I just want to encourage, after we've demonstrated today with our tribe and the Rosebud tribe, who has a wind farm, that's now the only tribe that has a huge wind farm in place, for all tribes to do the same, because if you can see your studies of the wind potential on your reservations, I think you too will join us and be a part of helping America's questions about developing this renewable resource for us.
Ano Vou te aqui onde é ela.
Wind energy generation is now cost competitive. Its time has come. Nationwide, there are over 4,600 megawatts of installed wind capacity, enough to power almost 1.5 million homes. Several tribal projects are in the feasibility and development stages on the reservations. The Rosebud Sioux tribe is moving forward with wind development plans for a 30-megawatt wind ranch near St. Francis, South Dakota.
The winds of life blowing four directions. The sacred waters flow to the sea. Flies high as any mountain. Oh, great spirit, keep us free.
Indian country is interested in wind powering America for all the right reasons. It will bring long-term benefits to future generations, Grandmother Earth, and create jobs for Native Americans. The future of our children's children depends on the wise decisions we make today.
The winds of life blowing four directions. The sacred waters flow to the sea. The eagle flies high as any mountain. Please hear me.